Bird for Life is 8 to 1. I'm Right on Time is 9 to 1. Heron 12 to 1 and 14 to 1 about Hold Hands 20 to 1. Spirit of Edinburgh and Faheen is 50 to 1. So Oregon Gift, who won yesterday, has done well since joining Charlie Mann, was a very comfortable winner yesterday, and has obviously got the penalty.
Yeah, does have to carry the penalty, but it's quite nice because he's just skated into this race. He actually won a similar level race, a higher level race last night, 0 to 65. Yeah, carries more weight, but gets into a 0 to 60. He won't be able to get into one of those for a couple of runs anyway. Jim Crowley's looking for a double on the card, having won that 7 furlong novice earlier. Like you said, this horse has been since he's changed yards, 3 runs for Charlie Mann, and he's won twice and been third once, and he was third to Master Burbage of Neil Mulholland, who has been winning as he pleases over the all-weather. The only slight concern is he's never actually come back this quickly. He's come back quickly, but it's only been 7 or 8 days. He's now coming back in probably about 24 hours, 23 hours. But he does like to go forward. He does appear to be the main pace angle in the race. He is drawn 1, and well, when Jim Crowley won earlier, he made all from stall 1. So barring wiping out the opposition from the gate, Jim Crowley just does what he did a few hours ago.
Number 5 is Wally's Wisdom, who won the concluding 0 to 55 event over course and distance here on the 7th of March, some 16 days ago. That was in a first-time tongue tie, a second run for the yard, building on the promise and the encouragement from the first, which came well off a year and a half off, actually. It was well over a year and a half off. It had a good break, up £3 and up slightly in that this is 0 to 60 company, but in form for a new yard, and he's certainly not stopped building on that promise, it would seem.
No, I had basically Wally's Wisdom, and I think everybody would probably have that, had Oregon's Gift not shown up today after last night.
Did you expect him not to at one stage, I imagine?
I pretty much probably did expect it, because I'm still not used to horses, even with the likes of Pulsating and Spare Parts and Captain Lars and all them this winter. I still don't have it in my head that horses come back so quickly. You know, Too Many Diamonds, 4 wins in 8 days. Not so much.
That was the smooth link, isn't it, to Too Many Diamonds, who, I mean, just completely cashed in when joining they cashed in on the horse when joining the yard back in May last year. Was it 4 wins in a week? Or 7 or 8 days? 4.
It was a really good spot by the Skeltons when they claimed him out of a cellar for $6,000 at Taunton in April, and then he went to proceed to win 4 on the trot in 8 days. He's run well since. Since being slightly disappointing in his last 2 runs at Stratford and at Plumpton at the end of last season. He's had 6 months off. He's had a wind up. He's now coming back to the flat, first time on the flat for the Skeltons, for Dan Skelton.
You're a bit worried about his...
Well, his overall flat form is 2 placed efforts from 34. One, he was placed at Dundalk probably when you were still in your mid-20s, and he was second to Mendacious Harpy on Jersey, and that form was terrible, to put it mildly. And I just really wonder, yes, he's a great hurdler, and Dan Skelton improved him immensely and capitalized off a very low hurdle mark, and he is trying to capitalize off a very low flat mark. But
£58 difference, is it?
It's something ridiculous. But this horse has shown nothing on the flat. I mean, it could just absolutely rock up and win, but when I was actually looking at this horse earlier, it's been cut in. When you read the opening show, it was 7 to 1. This morning it was 3s, depending on who you looked at. Now back into 11 to 2. Luke Morris gets on. That's quite a nice jockey booking for them, but I am just, if he wins, he's gonna do it without any of my money. I think there's some much better flat horses in here to contend with.
Dan Skelton hasn't yet had a winner on the all-weather, or had on the flat, I should say, I don't think. I think this is just a 3rd ever runner for Dan at Kempton on the all-weather.
I'm just trying to think. I'm actually just looking it up now, because I'm always surprised with how well a lot of the jumps boys now do on the flat. Basically, Paul Nichols was the last holdout to get his first winner on the flat with
Which came here, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, of course it came here with Subert, and then he rocked up again. But yeah, Dan's not had. Okay, so Dan's now the hold up out of the
I can't
jump.
imagine it's from a sample of what 12 runners.
Yeah.
I think Paul Nicholls actually last year I think he'd only had about 18 runners spread across 25 years.
Oh no, I mean but that's fantastic. It's still the stat that Paul Nicholls, multiple champion jump jockey, had never had a flat winner. You know, you make stats work in your favor. That's the great thing about statistics. You can mold them to however you need to prove stuff. But too many diamonds. It would be great for Dan to do it, but I think he's going to have to be a lot better than the likes of Oregon Gift or Wally's Wisdom, who was really quite impressive, even though it was only a half a length. And he should get a really nice stalking trip in behind Oregon's Gift, the same that he had last time when winning here.
Bird for Life. We said that Wally's Wisdom won Division 2 of the course and distance handicap 16 days ago. Bird for Life was third in Division 1. What was your assessment of the two divisions?
I thought Wally's Wisdom was a little bit, it looked a little bit better on paper, and it sort of seemed a bit better. But Bird for Life, she is an absolute Kempton lover. She runs a few pounds better here than she runs anywhere else. She's had 4 runs over course and distance, a win, 2 placed efforts. From 4, as I said, her bad run was when she was 4th, so...
She has reserved her best for this track and trip, rather like Believe It a little bit earlier on.
Exactly. And she, in her 3 starts this season, twice here, she finished 3rd, and then 3rd last time out. Her 1 bad run this season was when stepped up to 1 mile and 5 at Chelmsford 2 starts ago, but she did finish behind Navajo Star, who we saw on Wednesday, who's a proper nice stayer. But back down to 1.5 miles. She ran really well last time. She was drawn in 1. She basically had to sit, loop, and swoop down the outside. She was never going to get to Famous Dynasty, who we're going to see in the next division, so we should watch her to see how Famous Dynasty stocks up. Tommy Gilles was in 2nd, unfortunately. She's not going to take her place in a half an hour's time.
I'm Right on Time is very lightly raced. 4 race maiden in all. Off since the end of December. Number 2 here. Jack Doohan rides for Dean Ivory. Handicap debut today, a mark of 61's been allotted. Back to 1.5 miles. Would you envisage plenty of improvement to come with the advent of handicapping and getting the sort of right scenario with the trip?
I think you should expect a little bit more improvement for the handicap debut. We've actually had a lot of handicap debutantes today do quite well. Pak Choi won, See the Waters was placed. Richard Hughes' horse in the last one was 2nd. Should improve. Well, the problem is coming off a 3-month layoff. This horse, in my mind, looked to be much better suited to the 1.25 miles at the end of December at Lingfield than he has in his 2 runs over the 1.5 miles. One here where he was pulled up, so we'll forgive him. That was behind the aforementioned Zubair, and one at Wolverhampton behind Cape Peninsula. But last time out, he finished 5th. Never really got on terms with anybody in the front lot, and Relevant, who was 2nd that day, has come out and won. He's going to have to step up, but just being in handicap company could do that for him.
Just want to talk about the Brendan Powell trained pair, the mare Hold Hands.
I actually just want to say one thing quick. It's quite interesting. He's got a hind bandage on his left leg and just a little wrap on his right, which I don't necessarily like to see horses that are not bandaged equally. Could be nothing more than a little scrape or anything like that, but it is always something that
something you look out for.
Yeah, particularly if you're there at the track, that's something that you notice that us in the studio don't necessarily do. Luckily, they've had nice bright white wraps as opposed to darker ones, so it's very easy to notice. Thank you.
Good spot. The Brendan Powell trained pair, the mare Hold Hands and the gelding Spirit of Edinburgh. Hold Hands, who is a 17 race maiden, gets a bit of a pull at the weights with Wally's Wisdom behind him on that running last time. Is a maiden, but has hit the frame on 4 of the 5 runs over course and distance. Does act well round here. Yeah,
I actually thought Hold Hands would be an interesting proposition if you wanted to have a go at a little bit of a bigger price, although Bird for Life is a big enough price if you wanted to have an each way squeak, because we still do have 9 runners in this race. But as you said, 0 for 17 maiden, but in our first race, Coverham was a long extended maiden, but won.
We've seen longer than that,
Yeah, so this could be the night for the long-standing maiden. She's a 7-year-old mare, and what was really interesting was she ran a winning race last time behind Wally's Wisdom, broke from stall 14 of well, it was 12 of 12, but she was supposed to be in 14. She sat last through the first turn. Then on the back stretch, she went from last to third in one of those mid-race moves that never work. She was then 3 wide on the turn and then re-rallied again to get third on the outside, which was a huge run considering the move that she made on the back. Yeah, they weren't really going any pace, but you don't like to see horses exerting that much midway through a race. She's drawn in 2 today, so she should get a little bit of a better trip through the race. But again, she's an 0 for 17 maiden, so we can't give her all that many excuses going forward.
Yeah, but potentially she could run well and maybe hit the placings at 16 to 1 or so.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at her last couple of runs, third, second, third, with a couple of 7ths and 9ths, but not beaten very far in there. I mean, she should be on the premises compared to some of the other ones. Fahim making the flat handicap debut today, but has been running behind the likes of American Gigolo and Maiden and Novices. He's been an absolute revelation for Harry Fry on the flat. And Heron, who, for Brett Johnson, back down to 1.5 miles, but I think is, even though
dropping down the weights.
This is the lowest level that he's run at, but I need to see something a little bit before we go into him. But then again, we're talking about some of the bigger price ones in the field.
So Oregon Gift to win for the second time in just over 24 hours, 10 to 11. Let's get the call with John.
Hold Hands, the last one in, Nick, in those pink colours. If you're just joining us, that's a change from the Racing Post. Set to go. Long hold. They're off and racing. Wally's Wisdom was the slowest one out of the gates as they thunder down the home straight for the first time in this, the first division of the Racing UK Profits Return to Racing Handicap. Oregon Gift got an excellent start to take the field along, the hot favourite, who's been a busy lad of late. Winner at Wolverhampton yesterday, back here again, hot favourite to win once more. So Oregon Gift leads from Too Many Diamonds on the outside with I'm Right on Time, a close third on the rail. Then Fahim in 4th, Wally's Wisdom in 5th, has made up ground after that slowish start. Pink of Hold Hands comes next, and then Bird for Life, who's racing up the inside. Bird for Life is after those. We've got Spirit of Edinburgh racing along in last place. Heron is off the pace as well. As they race on down the far side, Oregon Gift showing the way. Oregon Gift and Jim Crowley then by a length and a bit to Too Many Diamonds on the outside of I'm Right on Time, who's against the rail, still third. Wally's Wisdom in the maroon silks covered right up in amongst runners, and then Fahim on the wide outside. They're followed by Hold Hands. Hold Hands ahead still of Heron, and behind Heron, Bird for Life. Last of all is Spirit of Edinburgh as they turn now out of the back straight and make their way back towards the home straight. Still well over half a mile left to go. Oregon Gift turns in with Too Many Diamonds now driven along in second place. Likewise, I'm Right on Time is being pushed along, and the leader still goes Great Guns. Wally's Wisdom back in a share of 4th place as Hold Hands travels okay. At the back, Fahim has lost ground rapidly and seems to be pulling up. Down the outside is Heron. That's very wide on the track, but Oregon Gift looking in good shape once again here, passes the 2 furlong marker with a big lead over Bird for Life. Spirit of Edinburgh plugging on in behind them together with Heron as they come now down towards the final furlong marker. Oregon Gift whip drawn now, and Bird for Life is closing. Oregon Gift lead down to about 3 lengths. It's shrinking all the time as Bird for Life is going to go very close here. Oregon Gift virtually joined by Bird for Life on the outside. Another tight one. Oregon Gift and Bird for Life, we need the judge once more, followed then by Heron in behind them in 3rd place, and Spirit of Edinburgh next.
Another photo finish here. The judge will have to decide that one. You've got the long-time leader and 24-hour double seeker Oregon Gift under the penalty, who's been out from the front, who was being worn down all the way to the line. Did he get there in time? Because Bird for Life was closing. She reserves her best for this course and distance. Has she notched a 2nd course and distance win, or is it a 28-hour double for Oregon Gift? What do you think, Rachel, before we get the result?
I don't know. Again, I think it was the fast finishing Bird for Life. I marked Bird for Life on my paper first, so because I don't like to scribble things out. I'm hoping she got it, but regardless, that was a gutsy performance by Oregon Gift, following up last night. Or Bird for Life, we just know she is pounds better when running around the Sunbury track.
Her best performances have come here. Her only win.
Here's the results of the
November.
photo finish
Has she got a
for first
second?
place. First, number 8, Bird for Life.
She's got there.
Felix
She's
Lee.
run down Oregon Gift, who had the race very much his for 9/10 of the race, maybe more than that. Took the lead up in front of going out in front of the stands, and had the lead all the way to the line, and has just been collared, nailed on the line.
Yeah, I mean, this is the way that he won last night's race, but he stayed on and nothing really closed. Pour Le Victoire got within 4.5 lengths, but he just looks like maybe the extra penalty he was carrying, his ears are kind of flopping around, and it's quite interesting. As Bird for Life comes up right on the line, I don't know if he switches his lead or just takes a bobble step, but he didn't look that free. But this is the interesting thing. From stall 1, he jumps out, and then he sort of moves into the middle of the race course. Ryan Tate's not doing anything bad about this, because actually yesterday when he was being ridden by SDS, he completely missed the break and rushed up to take the lead and led for the last lap of the race. But today he brakes well and goes to the front and actually looks quite contained within himself, maybe ears pricked over racing ever so slightly, but I mean, for all but the last few strides, he looked very much like the winner. Bird for Life is about 2nd or 3rd from last in the hoop sleeves. She's 3rd last right now. She's closed an absolute streak to get there, and it was
really
really good run by Heron, who got up for 3rd at relatively unconsidered prices. He's actually right next to Bird for Life, so the winner and 3rd are basically 2nd and 3rd from the back, with Oregon Gift trying to bowl along like he did last night.
Heron's run a good race, 0 from 7 now, but dropping down from 2 miles the last twice, so has the option of going back up into. I understand that Fahim has been pulled up. Bringing news on just how Fahim is. But at this stage, Oregon Gift, how much is he going to go up in future now, based on yesterday and today? Would you say? Difficult to say.
I don't know. I mean, he was running with the £6 penalty today. He would have been on the ceiling of this anyway.
Yeah.
He's run well, but he's beaten a horse for all intents and purposes. He's lost to a horse he should have well beaten. They'll probably put him up a little bit more, but I don't think. I mean, they'll put him up for the win yesterday. I think that might just be it. I don't necessarily think they'll get too egregiously narky with him.
The eventual winner here, Bird for Life, she was 3rd in that Division 1 of that course and distance handicap a couple of weeks ago. The winner of Division 2 was Wally's Wisdom. How do you think he's gone here?
Well, Wally's Wisdom, I mean, he had a similar toe through the race than he did before, but he was a lot further back than he was last time out, because obviously the leader last time didn't open up a 7-8 length lead. He's trying to close, but you can see him. He's got the green saddle towel. He's just sort of floundering around in 5th at this point. He's not going anywhere.
It's not making
very
great
quickly.
inroads,
No, you just almost wonder, because that was such a huge run. That was a 2nd run off a 20-month layoff. Today was his 3rd run. It has been about 2 weeks since that run, but he might have just flattened out a little bit sometimes. It not necessarily bounced, but it wasn't his day today. He was up in trip, but we should say with Bird for Life winning, we're going to see Famous Dynasty in about 20 minutes. He actually won the race. Bird for Life was 3rd, and so some quick fire collateral form. Potentially see him do the quick fire double when Wally's Wisdom couldn't.
There's the shot of Fahim there, who was pulled up out the back, and also with this tight finish that we just saw the photo finish there, confirming that way back when, obviously early doors on the card, Coverham got off the mark. That was the first for Ryan Tate. He's had a double on the card, and I think that's, well, given he'd only had one winner in 2018, I think before today, he's now had a double. Yeah,
which is good for him. Good to see that Fahim looks okay, just walking him back. He's a jump. He's more known as a jump horse. Maybe everything was just happening a bit too quick for him.
This is the slip of the tongue with Fahim.
Yeah. Fahim actually ran in a lot of hurdles, but Fahim is a champion hurdler. So, but Oregon's Gift, it's the lovely ISO, which you don't see the winner at all until
Jim Crowley
right
had a number
now.
of looks behind, yeah, and then
Yeah, she looks like she actually does
Stolen
it
on the line.
quite cozily in the end. I know it wasn't cozy by the distance, but she loves it here around Kempton. I'm sure Mark Usher will find another race or two for her here.
She's won at 8-1 for Ryan Tate, completing a double for him. Mark Usher, the trainer. Oregon Gift, 10-11 favourites, beaten on the line, and Heron was third at 16-1.